Hey guys, I'm Brian Phipps, Next Steps pastor at Westside Family Church. Welcome to week 1 of the Devoted Small Group Experience. Our focus this week is on being devoted to the Word. So we're just outside of a well-known library in our city because this building holds thousands and thousands of words. Words are powerful tools. As of January 1, 2014, there are 1,025,109 words in the English language. And the cool thing is that list just keeps on growing. In fact, there's a new word created every 98 minutes, which means about 15 words per day. Why are there so many words? And why are there so many new words being added on such a regular basis? One answer that seems to stand out, to me at least, is that we long to understand ourselves and we long to understand the world around us, and words help us to do that. There are many different sections of the library, and they are represented in the different books on these walls. As you look behind me, you see there's all kinds of different books. One of them back here is Plato. Plato is known as one of the early and great philosophers, and his The Republic is an effort to describe what he perceives as the ideal society. Now, philosophers use words to construct ideas that try to tackle the huge questions such as, why are we here, and what's the meaning of life? Well, philosophers have been writing discourses like The Republic for well over 2,000 years. Plato was alive 400 years before Jesus even came to earth. Well, since Plato, writers such as Descartes and Locke, Kant, and Kierkegaard have offered words to try and answer our basic questions about ourselves and the world around us. These are words, and as helpful as they have been, they still haven't been able to satisfy the questions that we have. Oh, Pioneers is another book back here. It's a book about a woman's struggle to survive life on the Nebraska prairie. Psychology is one of the sections inside of this library, and the authors who wrote the books that filled this section are trying to help us understand and deal with the many challenges of life that we face. Their words attempt to explain the nature of our souls and how they become hurt, adapt to that hurt, how they can find healing for that hurt, and so on. If you walk through the halls of this library, a casual observer in the psychology department will notice that there are many varying schools of opinion on this matter. Lots of words have been used. Undoubtedly, much help has come from these words. But at the same time, it's hard to know which of those words to truly devote ourselves to if there's so many different opinions. One of the most frequented sections in the library and in bookstores across the country is the SelfHelp section. Self-help books are the world's biggest selling book genre in 2014, selling well into the $11 billion zone. So obviously, people are willing to pay big bucks to be exposed to words that will help them understand life and the world around them. Well, as you can tell, there's no self-help books on the face of the Kansas City Library parking garage. One interesting dynamic about the self-help words is that the nature of that particular customer base. Forbes magazine put out an article recently that said the secret behind the success of self-help books was the repeat customer. Now, don't miss the importance of this. This study implies that the growth in the number of self-help books being purchased isn't due to a growing number of new customers, but instead it's the same people coming back to buy more and more books. Now, if you're reading between the lines, the self-help books aren't actually providing the promised help. But that's not stopping those same people from coming back and paying more and more to find the answers that they're still looking for. Well, obviously, words are powerful things. Words can hurt. Words can heal. Words help us communicate. Words attribute meaning to things and experiences. Words are good, but when it comes to understanding ourselves and the world around us, what we're seeing here is that words end up coming short of satisfying our need to understand the most basic issues of life. And it takes us back to the question, is there a book that is filled with words that'll truly satisfy these questions once and for all, instead of having to add more and more and more over time? Well, I believe that the Bible is such a book. And I realize that as I say this, there are countless books that have been written about the Bible, and there's just as much dispute over books in the Bible as there is about any philosopher or other classic book. But there is a difference between the words in this book, the Bible, and words in every other book. So let me show you what I'm talking about. In John chapter 6, there's a story of Jesus teaching a huge crowd of people. And like us, the people in that crowd were looking to Jesus for answers. And at one point, Jesus seems to decide that he wants to see who was really serious about his words, so he gets really direct with his teaching. He told the crowd something crazy. He said, unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, you're not going to have any part of me. Now, those are very difficult words to hear and even harder to understand. We certainly don't find this book on the face of the library because of things like that. The words were very unpopular with the crowd, and they started leaving one by one until only the disciples were left. Just the 12 of them. It's a huge crowd. That's all that's left. But the conversation that follows can teach us all we need to know about the words to which we devote ourselves. Jesus asked the 12 that remained, do you also wish to go away? He says that in John 6:67. And Peter's answer is breathtaking. Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. Peter had heard and read many words about life himself, but with Jesus, for the first time in his life, Peter experienced words of life. Not just words about life, words of life. Those words were so powerful, so true, and so life-giving that nothing could turn him away from those words. Peter was experiencing what John would soon write about in the first chapter of his gospel. And there it says powerfully, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made, and without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. Peter held on to Jesus' words, as difficult as they were, because he knew that Jesus was the Word, and every word from him was a word of life. And it's fun to watch Peter, who was utterly devoted to the words of Jesus, become a new man over and over again, building up the Church of Jesus Christ until his martyr death due to his faith and commitment to those words. There's over 1 million words in the English language. There is one word who can make sense of them all. Is that word worth your devotion? Enjoy your discussion in your small group about being devoted to the Word.